Hi, it is January 30th, 2018. It's 1:03 p.m. on the East Coast in Tennessee. Hi, Sheila.
Hey.
Hi.
So, let me see. Let me just say that I think there was something a little wonky going on this morning that we handled beautifully, frequency-wise, and inside.
Great.
Okay. So you know I can see frequency. I told you that, right?
Yep.
Well, I had it cooperated with Lisa, actually. You don't mind if I tell you, do you, right? Okay. So
busy in the whole world.
Yeah, really. Well, that's right. Busy in the whole world. Yeah, that's what she said. Busy in the whole world. We'll tune in. For my part, I'll just say that when I came in, now I got really great sleep last night. When we were done, I went to bed, and I conked right out. So I got lots of sleep, and I was well rested and everything this morning, and went into the courtroom this morning and sat down and started feeling sleepy immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And just a little unsettled and sleepy. And so I closed my eyes because I wanted to get a frequency read on the room. And I got the same as I did yesterday, a lot of green, which I'm associating with a healing situation, tinged with gold, a lot of gold in there. But there was this very thin, very mechanical looking, to me anywhere, to my mind's eye, very straight, narrow band of blue that was running underneath. It was like if you will, picture a screen in front of you. You got all this just swirling color of green and gold and tinged with a little bit of pink here and there. But then underneath, at the very bottom of that screen, you have a band that looks like a stripe of this electric sort of blue running through it. And it was actually moving behind my eye. I could see it. But it stayed in that. It was very, anyway. So I thought that was different, and I noted that to myself, and I noticed about, 5 or 10 minutes later, I saw Lisa get up and leave the courtroom. I assumed she had to visit the ladies, and about 5 minutes after she returned, I felt the need, so I got up and exited the courtroom. When I came back, I felt better. Now, it wasn't just from the tinkling, I'm sure, but as I sat there and I closed my eyes again, I now did not see that blue stripe at the bottom. And then when we had a break, I walked up to Lisa and I said, "So how are you feeling?" She said, "We'll talk later." I said, "Okay." And so we get here to lunch today, and now she's telling me that she had this very sleepy feeling, and when she tuned in with her guidance, she was told, yes, there was something being beamed at us, and she actually, with her team, began to work to release it. And I felt like that was a confirmation for me, although, my linear brain apparently still needs this confirmation. I thought, well, and then so I had to share with her what I saw. It was, her guidance said that, yes, it was artificial. So I just found that very interesting. I wanted to share that first off because that was my very first impression.
Mm-hmm.
And now we began the day with Heather still on the witness stand.
And she's doing the witness where she gives her statement of facts?
Right, what the judge called her factual narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And so she finished that up. And then, of course, we began now with her cross-examination. And I have to tell you that there seems to be some folks that are very unhappy, I think, with the way things are going. There was some evidence that Heather wished to enter into evidence that was denied or objected to by the prosecution.
Do you recall what it was?
Yes, it was her own trials, her own testing, if you will, of using the system to access her own TDDA and screenshots that she took of all of that. And that was objected to and not admitted as evidence.
Okay.
And that's important to say because as the prosecution began their, or continued, I should say, their cross-examination, at first I have to say, it felt to me like she was trying to establish the fact that Heather is brilliant. And I thought, well, yes, everyone can see that Heather is quite brilliant. I feel that kind of backfired in a way, though, because, yes, she did get into law school, and yes, it is hard to get into law school, and, yes, those were all just really statements of how brilliant Heather is, I think she thought she was going somewhere with that. I'm not quite sure what actually her objective was, to be honest. Maybe she's got one. Maybe we'll see what that is this afternoon. However, the longer it has gone on, the more frustrated she has become.
She being Spalto, or?
She is. No, it is Miss Davidson. Yes, Miss Davidson.
Okay.
Miss Davidson is doing this cross-examination.
I bet.
Yes. And so all of a sudden, she started using information from the evidence that Heather wished to introduce, but was objected to by the prosecution and denied by the judge, as to question Heather. And luckily, the elbow counsel stood up and said, I must object here, Your Honor. She's quoting things from evidence that she objected to.
Right.
So, although, Heather didn't have any problem answering those questions, but...
no, but it should be in the record, and that's why he...
Right, exactly.
This is Francis, that's why he objected.
Mm-hmm.
And what did Varlin say to that?
He sustained his objection, which means that he made her stop asking those questions.
Okay.
Even though Heather continued on and answered the question anyway,
right.
Which I thought was brilliant. And so that's pretty much where we've left it at this point. We're still with Cynthia Davidson doing the cross-examination.
So this afternoon there'll be more cross by Cynthia Davidson, and then will Randy cross as well?
Yes, he will have the opportunity to cross as well.
Okay.
Yes, so I have to say that, again, I have a lot of compassion for these folks because a lot of really good information came out from Heather this morning in regards to the cleanup that is being done. And I could see that the jury is really sitting up more and paying more attention.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Heather very succinctly made sure that everyone knew that the deputy FBI director resigned this morning.
He didn't resign, he was fired.
Oh, he was fired. Well, I wasn't quite sure. I
heard
fired
due to everything. Yeah. So the house of cards is crumbling, and yeah.
Well, I'm sure that she stated it correctly. I'm probably misstating it because all I know is what I read, but I do know she brought that up. And it's just, and the fact when she went on record as stating that part of this was to bring out and show the hand of the actors within each of these departments, the judicial, the political, and the law enforcement, that have been acting in their own and the Federal Reserve's best interest. She actually did name one agent in particular, and I saw that gentleman begin to squirm in his chair.
Is that our friend Parker?
Excuse me?
Was that our friend Parker?
That is our friend Parker.
Yes.
And he did begin to squirm. And I don't know, I just got a lot of compassion here because, you know, I have no idea what causes the person to, you know, betray their oaths or whatever and all. I'm sure there are reasons. And this isn't going to be easy on anyone. No one. But it's something that, in order to make all of us free, it has to happen. And so I'm gonna hand the phone over to probably, I don't know, Katie or Lisa. Lisa's on her phone at the moment. And Katie, are you at a place where you could talk to BZ? Okay, I'm gonna give you over to Katie.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, BZ.
Hey, Katie.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah. So,
okay, perfect.
We want to fill us in. Pick one or two highlights from exchanges that particularly stuck with you.
So the main thing that I just literally cannot stop thinking about was during Davidson's redirect, was because Heather had tried to enter into evidence bank statements from various other banks. I think there was a Bank of America as well as Macy's, or not Macy's. One might have been Macy's and also like a Citi card, a Costco Citi card one. Different statements from them showing that she had paid off or tried to pay off those cards to investigate the ACH and what was actually going on with it. And so she tried to enter all that into evidence, and then later on during the redirect, Davidson goes and is referencing all these documents, and we all looked at each other and we're like, you literally objected to those being entered into evidence. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you, trying to asking her questions about them? And so Francis Boyd got up there and objected, and Barlow just kind of was like Barlow didn't really know what to do. And I've noticed that in a lot of things that Barlow kind of just has that look like. I mean, he doesn't, and there's times he won't even state a rule, and he won't even say sustained or overruled. He just goes, we'll continue, when Heather was giving her factual narrative. And so that is kind of strange, too, where it's like, you guys have these rules that you go by, so why are you disregarding them all of a sudden now? And it's just so blatantly obvious.
because
extremely
each
uncomfortable.
Each point, every time you see that happening, and it will all be reflected in the transcripts that we've already ordered, every time you see that, it's another highlight for really how the system works and what's been hidden in plain sight and has always worked, just heretofore most people haven't seen it and brought their full attention to it.
Right, and the thing, too, is that Cynthia Davidson thought she had some hard-hitting questions that you could tell she asked, in regards to, and she made some, really rude remarks. Hold on, let me try to open my notebook. These little headphone things are falling out of my ears. But, she made some, nasty remarks, and I'm like, what? I don't understand why they're being so rude. I understand why they're being so rude, but,
Well, but it's not professional. This is the lead prosecutor in the case. Well, that's on the ground in the case for the United States. It's really not a professional way to, it's not the proper decorum to conduct yourself in.
Right.
But that's another highlight point as well.
Yeah, no, it's. Let me see. There was, because she was saying, when she would ask questions, she was like, this googly gosh. That's what she called the UCC filings. I'm not even kidding. She was like, you're trying to answer, she's like, let's just talk about the UCC filings and how they're googly gosh or something like that. And I was like, Seriously? Did you? Gobbledygoo or goo? She said something like that, like some weird term for it. I'm trying to find where I wrote this down.
Did you happen to notice the jury's reaction when she said that?
No, I didn't.
Because that is a
look
particular
over.
dig to them, saying, it's the unsaid saying that they're too stupid to understand any of this, and we don't want to tax their little heads.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and that's so undermining to people being able to understand the stuff. Like, let somebody explain it. Like, we're all very capable of comprehending what is happening. It's really frustrating when everyone, witness after witness, and on top of that, the prosecution is also saying, oh, basically you're saying that we're too dumb to be able to understand the stuff, so let's not admit it into evidence. But my thing is that you see filings keep coming up, and it's blatantly obvious that they don't want to admit it into evidence because that would kill their case. And so it's so frustrating when it's like, okay, if you don't think they have a case, let them admit it into evidence. Go for it. Do it. If you think that this is all googly gosh or googly whatever, gobbledygoo, then admit it all into evidence and let us prove you wrong. Or prove us right or whatever you want to do with it. And so that really stuck out to me on that. Let me see. Yeah, so she was like, they're googly gone. Heather was like, no, actually, and she goes in to describe to them why they're not. But I remember in the beginning, she was just bringing up really rude statements. And there was at one point, okay, here it is. There was one point where she was like, Davidson said this to Heather. She was like, you've done a really good job with this trial, haven't you? She's like, you just love talking, don't you? She's like, you think everyone should just sit here and just believe what you're saying, don't you? And just keeps going on. And Heather looked at her and was like, are you going to ask me, do you have a question? Are you going to say something? I mean, it's all just insinuations. And I mean, I guess for me, I've never gone through an actual trial like this, and that's basically what they are, is they insinuate stuff and hope that you answer yes, and admit to whatever it is they're trying to insinuate. And it's just ridiculous. They're not asking legitimate questions. They're just trying to, give you a judgment of her character. And, I mean, she just did amazing handling all of this. It was great. Everything was so blatantly obvious. I mean, Vizi, this is better than any TV show I could ever watch. I absolutely love the show Suits, and let me tell you, this tops that times a million. It is. I mean, it's just crazy. It is because it's so blatantly obvious, but it's just absolutely perfect.
Well, she's asking those questions too because she's got nothing. I gotcha. I was just wondering.
Easy.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you broke up for a second. Go ahead.
I was saying she's asking those questions because she's got nothing.
Right. No, and what's so funny is that I noticed too is so she would ask a question like this, and and she wouldn't follow up on it purposely because Heather would give such a good answer that totally just killed her question. So she would ask her, and all of a sudden would throw something else that was out of nowhere into it, and then she would give a really good answer to that, and then she would just stop at her and throw something else. So it's it almost looks like she wasn't really wanting a good answer, wasn't expecting a good answer, so she was hoping that she could dig further into what she was asking. When it came to UCC and when it came to her expertise, but she said you became an expert in it, and Davidson was like, she's like, a lot of things you said just are not true. She's like, everything you said, it's not true. And she kept saying that, and I'm like, if it's not true, then all right, prove to us it's not true. Let's go through this. Ask the questions. Come on, let's figure it out then. And I just saw them as more insinuating and hoping to catch her in accidentally admitting something that doesn't exist or never happened, versus giving hard-hitting questions that are actually going to get down to the bottom of what they're trying to know. And that, to me, irritates the hell out of me.
Right. Well, again, it's another beautiful, you've just given a beautiful illustration of a compassion point, because I feel what you're seeing is cognitive dissonance in this person.
Yeah.
She has risen to the top where she is right this minute. She thought she was doing, standing for liberty and justice and doing the right thing, and that she had a good handle on what the law really was and how everything worked. And her entire identity and construct on multiple levels is being shattered right in front of her.
Yes. And on top of that, so a lot of because, Heather talks about the different intelligence that she received a lot of information from. And so Davidson was like, oh, yeah, really? Like, who did you get that from? Oh, yeah, who told you that? And so she was like, so-and-so. And she would actually state the names of every single person that she, that she knew of and would answer those questions in full. So that's why it was shutting down any argument she was trying to have. Like, she was basically trying to insinuate you're making this stuff up. No one actually told you that. And then here Heather is giving her names, explaining, yes, this is what this person does. This is how they knew this information. This is the experience they had. And then she had nowhere to go. She had nowhere to go with it. And it was beautiful. It was great.
Well, and again, another thing that telling you is that a lot of the people that Heather's referring to, those are, well, at least until this moment, they were need to know and on a lot of levels classified. And so by releasing that in an open court,
yep,
she's been given clearance to give that information. So the weight of that beyond what the testimony she's actually giving is what's the huge thunk that's hitting in the room.
Yes, so now they're realizing who everyone is, and you're right, because they had no idea who any of those people were before.
Yeah, well, but that's the take. So what you just said is beautiful because that's the huge takeaway there. That it's like a holy fill in the blank moment when because Heather's been cleared to say those things.
Yeah. Yep.
Release those names.
Yep. I mean, it's so beautiful. I didn't think today could get any better in the past few days, and it just did. I'm not even kidding you. Although there's no way this can get much better than it already is, and it shocks me every day.
It's going to get a whole lot better than it already has, Katie. I can absolutely assure you of it. Okay, so what's on the docket before we return from lunch?
So when we get back, I think she's going to finish her. Yeah, she's going to finish her redirect.
Okay.
Oh, Sheila's telling me I have to go because she has to do her Facebook Live.
All right. Okay. Thank you. I'll get this up and tell her I'll put it on CCC.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Easy. Love you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.